Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. We got to talk about it. That's the MVP, the Western Conference Finals MVP, and also the NBA Finals MVP. And this was a graphic here from. I'm going to show this graphic, then play this Shai soundbite. Scoring champion, MVP, and NBA Finals MVP in the same season. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, MJ, Shaquille O'Neal, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and here was Shai after the game on being in rare air. Here was Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Here we go.
Tim?
It's a real short list of guys who've won MVP and Finals MVP in the same season. Yeah, the scoring title in there, that list gets even shorter. Now that you guys have crossed the finish line, are you able to wrap your head around that historic company that you've joined?
Yeah, it's hard to believe that I'm part of that group. It's hard to even fathom that I'm that type of basketball player sometimes. As a kid, you dream, and every kid dreams, but you don't ever really know if it's going to come true. And I'm just glad and happy that my dreams have been able to come true, and that's a thank you to everyone that's been in my corner that's helped me get here. I wouldn't be able to have done without them. They know exactly who they are. So, yeah, it's a win for the family.
All right, man, that was the MVP, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. What do you think, man? This was just a tremendous year for him, and to cap it all off with a championship, all the accolades, it was well-deserved for Shai, man. I thought he was outstanding. He's been a terrific player, man.
Yeah, he was outstanding. Like, anybody who was questioning whether or not he's a superstar, I never understood that. We've seen what this guy has done the last 2 years. He was second MVP voting last year. He wins the MVP this year. He is unquestionably now a top 3 player in the league. I think some people will have him 2 after Jokic. He's in rarefied air with that accomplishment right there. I mean, that's elite. Anytime you get into elite company, you do something at his age, and I think leading a team as young as this team is the most impressive thing. I was saying this to somebody last night. Somebody else talked to me who's from Canada I was talking about last night, and she said to me, she was like, SGA is the greatest Canadian player ever. And I thought about it. I was like, oh, a lot of people are going to say Steve Nash, but I think because he's in this rarefied air, he's won a title. He's a better defensive player than Steve Nash. I think that point is correct. I think he is the greatest Canadian player ever. And he's leading this great generation of Canadian basketball players that we're seeing in the league right now. But to do this, and then, I think the other part of his CP is, do we see him slowing down? Do we see him not getting better? He's a good two-way player. He showed he can make other players better last night, even when his shot wasn't falling. 8 for 27. He still had what? How many assists did he have? He had a double-double. 12, 13? I'm trying to remember how many assists he had. He had 12 assists. So, yeah, when you're able to do that at that level in the way he's able to do it, impact the game on both ends, I mean, just tremendous way to cap his season. The sky's the limit for this guy because of, I think, his defensive ability and the pieces around him. And some people are going to say this, and I think some people will use this to bring him down a peg and say, well, he had a well-constructed team built around him. Yeah. I mean, that's what you want as a player. And you have to then elevate. You still have to execute.
You still got to elevate, bro.
Right. And he did that. I think it's one of the things that I'm impressed. I'm not around that team, but I talked to my guy, Josue Pavon, who covers them for Clutch Points. And, he talked about the leadership of SGA with me early this year and how impressive he's been. And I just think when you look at I'll harp back on this again. When you look at how young this OKC team is, CP, and he is the face and leader of it in his mid-20s, and the way he's carried everything, bouncing back after a Game 6 letdown, you got to be impressed, and I just wonder what this can do for this young man's career going forward. OKC's going to be a problem. SGA is a problem, and he's a bona fide superstar. Now, will he get the hype and accolades of some others may? I think time will tell, and winning will take care of all that, but nah, SGA's dope, man. He's dope. There's no denying that.
Absolutely, man. And I had to play this soundbite because this soundbite has been floating around the internet. This is from some Pacer fan, and you know what? This is a perfect segue to introduce our audience on the NBA Report side to Worst Take. And in Worst Take, we go around the NBA media landscape reacting to some controversial sound bites, and we rate the take in the chat. 1 being trash, 5 being facts. So here is an Indiana Pacer. Looks like a content creator. I don't know this guy's name. Apologies on that. But here is his take on SGA. I'm going to play it. I'll react to it, and you let me know what you think. Here we go.
I have zero respect for SGA. Zero. None. I hate watching.
I think that's the problem with the
worst.
Thunder.
I think he's the worst MVP of my lifetime. I think it's a disgusting watch.
Wow.
I think the Thunder are a blight on basketball. I think the way they play is disgusting. I think that there's this idea that they are a team, a bunch of young guys that come together and play great team defense. They don't. They hack the shit out of guys. SGA has zero bag whatsoever. He pushes off on literally every basket he scores. And then the refs just, for some reason, don't call it. And then the commentators do their best to carry water for him, and they're like, woo, creating separation right there. We all saw it. He put his shoulder down. He pushed off. That's the only move he has. He either gets fouled and goes to the free throw line, or he hits the mid-range jumper that then Doris Burke and Richard Jefferson say, well, look at how good he is at getting to his spot and creating separation. And then they slow-mo it, and we just see the same fucking play over and over. We all know how he does it, and they for some reason don't call it. It drives me up a goddamn wall.
All right, so that young man crashed out. He crashed out heavy, man. I think he was a dejected Pacer fan. He crashed out. And look, man, this is the age of the internet where everybody wants to be loud and wrong, because that is exactly what this guy was in that crybaby rant. He looks like one of those guys that watches games with diapers on. You know, we have a lot of those guys around the NBA right now. I don't understand the SGA hate. I feel like it's forced. I feel like it's manufactured. Here is a guy that has only leveled up every single year since his rookie year. Even last year, when you could have made the argument that he could have won the MVP, he comes back this year with even better numbers. He averaged 32 points per game. Like, what are we talking about? 32 points per game, 6 assists. His three-point percentage is going up. His effective field goal percentage is going up. 2-point percentage is going up. Yeah, he gets to the free throw line because he's smart at drawing contact. But to say that the guy has no bag is false. He not only gets to his mid-range spots with ease. We're in this era where everybody's complaining about too much threes. So now you have a young mid-range assassin who is taking it back to the old school, if you will, and is excellent at it. As I said, scoring champion, MVP, Western Conference Finals MVP, Finals MVP. We're now looking to figure out who's going to be the face of the league. Is it going to be one guy or a collection? You have a guy like this who stays out of the way and is leveling up his team. What are we talking about here?
CP, that was a crash out for the ages right there. You're right. Everybody's got to be loud. Everybody's got to be wrong and strong. And there's no accountability, right? Because you're saying all this. There's no facts. This is all just what he feels. And it's feeling the moment. There's no facts there. There's nothing about what you said about how he's leveled up, how he's become more efficient as a player. And who cares about a bag? Because here's the goal of basketball is to win possessions. You want players that can elevate your team, right? And contribute to winning basketball. So I would ask that guy, does SGA contribute to winning basketball? I don't understand how you could look at his career trajectory and say that he doesn't. I don't understand how you could watch last night and say that he doesn't. For folks who think he's a foul grifter, which is what this young man was alluding to, okay. But does he contribute? Is getting to the line not part of winning basketball? Right. Whether you like how it looks or not. I say this nicely. Nobody cares about your feelings on this because your team lost. And if your team lost and you don't have anybody around you to tell you, hey man, maybe you shouldn't crash out like this on your platform, whatever that might be. Yeah, what do you say? What's your scale on worst take again? Was it 1 and 5?
1 being trash, up to 5 being facts. Is it tomatoes? Is it fire emojis? What do you think?
This is like a -5. You got to give this a -5 here because I get it. Look, and no disrespect to the young man. He's in his feelings. He sounds like he's a Pacer content creator. His team lost. But CP, I've known you for a bit. We do content. We do stuff around the Knicks. I've never seen you crash out over a Knicks loss. I've never seen it. I've seen you try to be as objective as possible. We know you're a fan. And, you talk about what you see. But you can't get in your feelings. And when you take an L, you got to tip your hat to the other team. And that's it. To say he's the most, what do you say? I don't know if you say overrated or undeserving.
He's the worst MVP he's ever seen or something, some garbage like that.
He was the best player on the best team in the league statistically all season long. Now this team went and proved it in the playoffs because they won the championship. They had 68 wins. They had the best offensive rating. They had the best plus minus in terms of defense. So they had the metrics were there for them. He was the best player and scoring champ on this team, and he's the worst MVP you've ever seen? Okay.
It's forced.
I don't have much more to add than that. Okay. All right.
It's forced. You know, I don't know what more you want to see from this league. It is so ridiculously forced. The kid is 26 years old, has leveled up every single year. And I'm sorry, bro. Listen, he's going up against his countryman in Nebhard. He's going up against Neesmith. If the defender is allowed to be physical and trying to bump you off your spots, if I'm a referee, you have to allow for contact by the offensive player to bump him off. Is it a full stiff arm? No. Is he creating separation? Every good player in the NBA uses their physicality to create separation. Every single one. If the defender's going to be physical, then the offensive player has to be able to be physical, or else you're never going to have any type of offense in the NBA. It's ridiculous, bro.
Yeah, and I think what SGA is actually elite at, I'm trying to think of another player. You know, I mean, all the elite players are great at this. Getting to your spot. That is the thing. Getting to your spot. You know, Kawhi Leonard can, still knows how to get to his spot as a mid-range guy. I'm thinking about guys in the mid-range. Jalen Brunson is like this too. Kevin Durant can cook in the mid-range and get to a spot. Luka Doncic can do this as well too. All the great guys, it's not about being hyper athletic or being your bag. The league is not about that anymore. And for people who are still on that, you're not watching the league, or you haven't understood the evolution of what's going on in basketball. Getting to your spot, being highly efficient, and being a good two-way player, that's good to me. I'll take SGA on my team any day.
Yeah.
He's asking. Look, I know this dude will probably lie, and he'll do it for the clicks. Yes, I'm calling him a liar. If you ask him if he would swap Halliburton for SGA, he's lying if he tells you he wouldn't do it.
Exactly.
Straight lying.
Exactly.
Straight lying.
Yeah.
You ain't got to lie, bro. You ain't got to lie.